The Chakravyuh, also known as the Padmavyuh, was a sophisticated and highly strategic military formation described in the ancient Indian epic, the Mahabharata. Chakra means wheel, and vyuha means formation. The Chakravyuh resembled a spinning wheel or a lotus with multiple concentric layers of warriors arranged in a circular pattern. Each layer of the formation was defended by skilled warriors, making it increasingly difficult to break through as one progressed inward. Drona devised the Chakravyuh on the 13th day of the war, with a motive to capture Yudhishthira, the leader of the Pandavas, as a prisoner of war. Such deadly was the trap of Chakravyuh that only a few talented warriors like Krishna, Arjuna, and Drona knew the way to break in and come out of it. It rotates along its axis, with each layer rotating in alternate directions at different speeds to make it a great offensive as well as defensive formation. Chakravyuh not only rotates but also revolves in its orbit to destroy everything that comes in his path, thus making it a very offensive and destructive force. Chakravyuh formation is similar to a typhoon that moves across the battlefield to destroy everything that it encounters. Usually there are 7 layers, level 7 being the innermost layer consisting of strongest soldiers. Soldiers of the inner level were technically and physically stronger and also densely placed than the soldiers of the immediate outer level. Role of soldiers in outer layers was to only prevent entry of warrior into the layer. If the layer is broken, the aim of outer layer soldiers is to prevent further entries and not to attack the warriors who already breached the layer. Now let us tell you why Chakravyuh was so deadly. Let's suppose we have a soldier or a group of soldiers fighting for the opposite side. There is one point of entry in the Chakravyuh which the opposing army wants you to take and is the longest route. Once drawn, the foremost soldiers come on either side of the component to be captured, engage briefly, and then move ahead. Their place is taken up by the next soldiers on either side, who again engage the component briefly and then move ahead. In this fashion, a number of soldiers keep on passing the component and keep on moving in a circular pattern. The Chakravyuh was so made that a person entering the Vayu began to anticipate that he was gradually coming out from it when actually he was being driven deeper inside while crossing the layers of soldiers one by one while fighting with them. After moving in the first 3 rounds of the Vayu, it felt as if one has come out of the Vaya when all of a sudden in the 4th turn, one leapt inside the formation again. As one went on in the quest of conquering the Vayu, one got to meet stronger opponents, meaning the outer circle had less powerful warriors. And as one goes inside, a soldier has to fight stronger opponents gradually. And by the time one reached the center, he was fully exhausted when he came face to face with the strongest soldiers of the army. By the time the last bit of soldiers arrives, the soldier, oblivious of the design, is captured within 6 or 7 tiers of soldier formation surrounding him from all sides. The last soldiers of the formation give the signal of completing the Chakravyuh. On the signal, every soldier who so far has been facing outwards now turn inwards to face the component. It is only then that the captured opponent or army realizes their captivity. In Mahabharata, it was actually made to engulf Yudhishthira inside so as to end the war that day itself. Although the plan couldn't succeed as Arjuna came for his rescue, and it was also used to save Jaydrath from Arjuna after the demise of Abhimanyu in Mahabharata. And that's why it's both an offensive as well as defensive formation. Now let's talk about how to break into this formation effectively. To break into the Chakravyuh and reach the center without being tired needs a warrior to find the shortest possible route to the center, as well as it demands him to be really superior in skills to the warriors along his path to the center. One needs to break in the layers to reach the center, then to travel along the maze to reach the center. Most warriors would think of breaching the layer by killing the soldier in front of him. Once a warrior successfully kills a soldier in front of him, his place would be instantly covered up by the soldiers to the either side, and the formation will remain intact, since the inner layers are densely populated, and hence these soldiers are always going to fill up the spaces. A preferable solution would be to kill as many soldiers as possible so as to increase the gap between them, so that the gap available to breach is more than what the warriors on the left or right could easily fill in. Best is to kill the soldiers on the left and right of the entry one wants to take, and by the time remaining soldiers try to fill in, the gap will be large enough for one to enter. One needed to be extremely skillful in order to perform this task, as the density and skills of soldiers increases with each layer. Also, it needs an archer with very long shooting range and fast shooting speed to be able to create such a bigger gap before the formations move ahead to fill the gap. Abhimanyu had learned how to enter the Chakravyuh in the mother's womb, and hence he was able to enter, but remaining Pandavas who were Bhima, Nakul, and Sahdev were stopped by moving soldiers at the initial layers. Now comes the question of why is it more difficult to exit the Chakravyuh than entering it? One question that puzzles many is why Abhimanyu could not exit the Chakravyuh, despite being able to break into it. It's simply because the challenges increase when trying to exit the maze. There are multiple reasons for the same. Firstly, while entering, only the inner layers are facing the warrior who has entered the maze. The duty of the outer layers is to prevent further entry of more soldiers into the maze. But once the target is inside, the commander instructs the inner layers to face inside. So while exiting, one needs to face warriors very much like entering, but the only catch is that once a layer is breached to go out, the warrior is faced not only by the soldiers standing before him on the outer layers, but also by the soldiers behind him in the inner layers. Secondly, while exiting, one needs to break the innermost layer, which has the strongest warriors while staying within the shooting range of all of them, as the diameter of the ring is smaller. Thirdly, the warrior would already be exhausted in entering the formation and fighting the strongest warriors in the inner circle. And lastly, the skills needed to create a similar panic mode in the innermost layer with the best warriors is probably too immense. Thus, Abhimanyu had to face powerful warriors like Dronakarya, Kripacharya, Karna, Duryodhan, and Dushazan alone, and hence he eventually was martyred.